Chapter 4. Analay Edom, A Year in Yucca. Hold on. Alright. Alo Solar is dead. My whole body grows numb as silence lingers over the promenade. Daniel, Daniel stumbles forward to his father's lifeless body. Dr. Eugene cradles Alo's neck. Hold Dr. Eugene cradles Alo's neck, and Cheyenne is holding in. Dr. Eugene Dr. Eugene cradles Alo's neck, and Cheyenne is holding his head. Cheyenne crosses Alo's arms on top of his chest. A red leaf drips in the wind and lands near him. Alo, Cheyenne wails. Alo, Cheyenne wails. Wrinkles form on her head. Wrinkles form on her forehead as she looks back at Daniel in pain and pulls him near her and Alo. Daniel drops to his knees and moves his hand onto his father's face. Alo's eyelids are swollen shut. He touches one of his father's braids and places his other hand on his father's chest. Daniel cries. I tug on Malachi, who is standing beside me, and bury my face into his shoulder. Brazenia, run, Brazenia runs over to Pastel and Oren. Pastel, Pastel, Pastel reaches out to Brazenia and holds her close. I love you, Brazenia. Everything will be alright, Pastel says to Brazenia. I love you too, Mommy, Brazenia replies. I glance up at Daniel. He is whispering the teardrop song. It is a song the creatives wrote and the only song other than Ode to Lenore the town sings together. We sing the teardrop song when someone dies. He whispers the he whispers the words over and over until the whole village hears him. Dust is all we are and what we will become. Hold your loved ones now before your life is done. Teardrops, teardrops, we walk and teardrops as we run. Hold your loved ones now before your life is done. Pray for Prometheus to heal your heart of stone. Shake away the rust and live with only sun. His voice is clear and sharp. Tears spill down his face. The creatives sing along with him, and their voices ring through the promenade. When I peer around, almost everyone is singing now. My mother is holding Clara's hand with a vacant stare into the promenade. Her face is dry with no sign of any tears. Malachi squeezes my shoulder to prompt me to sing along to support Daniel. I'm off the, I'm with the words, but nothing comes out. Shaking my head at Malachi, I sway to the song instead of singing. Ellie Linden slightly pushes through the crowd to stand in the middle of the promenade near Alo and his family. Confused faces stare back at Ellie, and everyone stops singing. This is a huge loss for Lenore, and it is unfortunate that Alo's death arrived before the initiation tomorrow. We will need to hold his funeral service. The service set up tonight will be an extra 100. The service set up tonight will be an extra 100 evergreen coins fee, Ellie says, directing the last comment to Cheyenne. Cheyenne's head rises slowly. She glares at him. How dare you talk about evergreen coins after Alu's death? How dare you talk about evergreen coins moments after Alu's death? Do you have any empathy in your body? She questions. Her voice sounds full of tension. Simply stating the facts. We are unable to hold the funeral tomorrow due to the initiation, Ellie replies. His glassy gray eyes glimmer as he stares at Shane. His hands are in the pockets of his perfectly tailored pants. You are soulless, Shane responds. Dr. Eugene gently places Alu's head back down onto the ground. I will pay the extra fee, Ellie. Please leave us in peace as we prepare, Dr. Eugene says. How generous of you, but we need to move his body into the Solar's treehouse. Cremating his body tonight will work, Ellie replies. He turns to face the people of Lonor. Creatives, please help Sheen and Dr. Eugene carry Alu's body to his home. Then he turns back around to face Sheen and Dr. Eugene. My condolences for your loss, Ellie states, and then he nods at Sheen and Dr. Eugene. Cheyenne's lips quiver as she rubs Alu's forehead. Dr. Eugene reaches out to squeeze her hand. Stanza, Sport, and Lyric walk up to Alu's body to carry him to the treehouse. Daniel clings onto his father's leg as they walk towards his treehouse. Most of the creatives follow Daniel and his mother while singing the teardrop song as they trudge up the solar's pathway. Dr. Eugene, Oren, Brazenia, and Pastel walk behind them as well. I glance around to find my mother again, and she is walking back to our treehouse. Everyone in Lenore must change into white clothing before the ceremony tonight. Malachi turns around to face me. Will you come over to our tree mansion before you head to Helios' circle? He asks. I nod. I would rather go anywhere with the kings instead of my mother. See you soon, I say softly. Malachi and Brazenia walk back to the King's Tree mansion. I close my eyes and decide to say a small prayer to Prometheus. Please be with the solars, I whisper. I'm a little annoyed at myself because I've reached out to Prometheus a lot lately. When I make it back home, my mother hadn't. When I walk back home, when I make it back home, my mother hasn't changed into our ceremonial white colors for the funeral. She has on her tight black dress. She has on her tight black dress and a violet flower in her hair. I think I'm going to wear black to Alice's funeral. I want to stand out, she says. But everyone wears white, I respond, tilting my head at her. My mother hugs at me as she continues to stare at herself in a full-length mirror. I'm not, I'm not everyone, she replies, rolling her eyes at me. How could she get mad at me for that? How could she get mad at me for attracting attention, but loves it when people stare at her? The pilot and the horsemen don't attend our funerals, and I'm thankful for that. At every at every ceremony, the creatives will dance, and then three people will speak about the person who died. We all hold white candles, and then Ellie will blow out a large candle that is on top of the dead body. Images of Alice's life's body race through my mind. I need to lie down and rest before I head out to the King's. I look through my small closet and find a soft white dress to put on. After sleeping on the dress, I climb my ladder to the attic and lie in my bed to take a nap. Alice's purple, bloated face haunts me when I close my eyes. When I wake up, it is dark outside. Mother, I yell downstairs, but no one responds. I climb down the ladder. I glance around the house, but there is no sign of my mother in the treehouse. Greens is asleep near her bedroom door. A knock on my door prompts me to run and open it. Malachi and Brazilian stand at the front. Malachi is wearing a white shirt with white pants. Brazilia's white dress shimmers in the dark. A beautiful green leaf is pinned on their clothes. They own the best clothing because they are the emeralds. I look down at my simple cloth dress with a se- I look down at my simple cloth dress with a yellow leaf pinned on the front and then back at Malachi and Brazilia's clothing. You look fine, Malachi says with a smile. He can always read my mind. Let's go, start outside, he states, grabbing my hand to leave my treehouse. Gazenia and Malachi hold the white candles as we walk down the pathway. Malachi hands me a candle and strikes a match to start the fire. We walk slowly enough to Helios' circle so the candles won't blow out. It is a tradition to walk through the promenade with candles for funerals. When we arrive, I spot my mother sitting on a tree stump near Clara Linden. Of course, she is talking to Clara. A long white dress covers my mother's thin frame. I guess she was too afraid to wear black after all. Malachi, Brazenia, and I find a spot near the back of Helios's circle. Helios's circle doesn't have a roof like the observatory. There are no walls, but we are inside a gigantic hollowed out tree stump. The sides of the circle are a little bit taller than I am. The seats are small tree stumps. When we sit down, I look behind me, and the creatives are gathered in the back. Some of them are sitting down, and a few are sitting up. The moonlight shines on Helios's circle, and I doubt we need the candles. But the lead candles brighten up the area. Ellie Linden walks to Ellie Linden walks to the front of the Ellie Linden walks to the front of his circle with one towering candelabrum. The creatives carry in Alo, who has been placed inside of a large tree. Someone carved the tree to mold to Alo's body. It looks like he is sleeping inside of it. They place the tree at the front of the circle. We will begin as soon as the creatives are ready, Ellie states, and then he sits at the front of Helios' circle. Everyone looks back at the creatives. Leonard and Heiko are the only ones not standing now. The creatives sing the teardrop song. They dance around Helios' circle. Jubilee's pearl white dress flutters in the wind. Her arms sway to the rhythm of Leonard's drum. She leaps in the air. Her feet land on her feet land softly on the grass. I stare at her in awe. I stare at her in awe. She is one of the best dancers in Lenore. When the creatives finish their dance, they exit the back of the circle. Ellie stands up to address us. And now Dr. Eugene will speak, Ellie says. I search the circle for Dr. Eugene. I finally spot him, sitting at the front with Cheyenne, Orel, Pastel, and Daniel. Dr. Eugene walks up to the front of the circle with his candle. Several moments go by up. Several moments go by after Dr. Eugene clears his throat and then he rubs his eyes. Everyone is quiet as Dr. Eugene struggles to hide his emotions. His eyes focus on the ground. Moments go by until he stoically stares at Alo. If you haven't heard, if you haven't heard Alo, if you haven't heard, Alo wanted to set up a new building, a place just for books. I'll never forget you. My best friend and confidant will be missed. Dr. Eugene wipes his eyes and then blows out his candle. My heart aches for Dr. Eugene. Words are never an issue for him. Tonight, he doesn't say a lot. He sits down beside Cheyenne and she rises. She holds her candle as well and walks by Alo and touches his face. His face is illuminated by the light of her candle and the light of the candlestick above him. Cheyenne's trembles as she stands in front of the circle. Uh, Alo, she stutters. She looks down and then stares at Alo in the wooden casket. One of Cheyenne's hands is behind her back. She is holding a jasmine flower. Tears pour down Cheyenne's face as she places the flower on his white shirt. She lays her head on his stomach. I love you, she says softly. Several moments pass by and then she straightens her posture and blows out her candle. Daniel rises up. Daniel rises from his stump. He is carrying his pan flute instead of a candle. Jubilee holds his arm as they walk to the front. Jubilee wrote a poem for my father, he says. Jubilee squeezes his hand. That was nice of her, Malachi whispers to me with a smile. I nod my head in response. Malachi likes Jubilee, but I haven't told anyone. Jubilee clears her throat to begin the poem. Daniel plays his flute in tune with poetry. I thought I saw you smile today, a sight I only dreamed of in a false reality, a kiss I surely miss, that curved up to touch the clouds and brush the sky. I thought I heard you laugh today. To hear the tickling joy vibrate through your soft throat, buzzing through my ears again, much louder than hummingbirds' wings on a quiet day. Consciously sorting through the wishes, my eyes wide open, only to see a blackboard with stick figures. Such a small space for an active mind. I thought I saw you wave today. Your plump fingertips touched my pillow. The warmth of your presence illuminated my senses, and I knew you cared. I'll wait for you. I'm in the dark, in the daytime, in the morning. I will wait to see you smile. Jubilee and Daniel stands at the front for a moment. Everyone claps for them. Jubilee walks to the back with the other creatives and her mother. Muffled cries pour from Daniel, and then Ellie walks to the front of the circle. Please file in line to view Aloe one last time, Ellie states, motioning everyone to get in line. When I walk past Aloe, his face is even more swollen, but now a purplish brown. My heart aches. Yesterday, we were talking about this drawing. How could this happen so fast? Aloe died too soon. Everyone who views Aloe must blow out their candle. I walk back to my tree stump, and when I turn around, the only candle lit is the one at the front, behind Aloe. The whole town sits in silence and stare at him lying in the casket. He will be buried in Helios's cemetery. Helios's cemetery is a dreary place, a shadowy and distorted area packed with looming moss-covered trees, possessed with spirits. Everyone who dies is cremated and the remains are placed in a seed to grow into a tree. During the daytime, fog kisses the tips of the thick grass, and the leaves weep because of the humidity. The temperature plummets once you step foot inside of the cemetery. It is cold in Helios' circle too. Little clouds of mist float in the air. Ellie leans in front of the candlestick. May you rest in peace and forever be in Prometheus' glory, he says. He blows out the candelabrum, and the only light shining now is the moon. Chapter 5. The Battle for Immortal Women. The walls of the Baobab Lair reverberate. The walls of the Baobab Lair reverberate with noisy chatter from the battle. Four small baobab trees stand in each corner of their refuge. Within each baobab chamber is a bed, mirror, and several other amenities. The women gather around a polished round table in the sanctuary. 88 tiny black eyes glare at the battle from a glass bowl. The eyes belong to a malevolent violet spider. Venus slams her hand down on the table. Tori leaps in response. The bowl bounces, landing with a clang back onto the table. Adara, I told you not to murder anyone, Vena mumbles, glancing at Adara with a sigh. Adara peers back at Vena without saying a word. Tension in the room hovers over the battle like a dark, turbulent cloud. You killed the Solar, Vena continues, her voice full of irritation. I should have murdered a creative instead, Adara replies with a smirk. She fiddles with a stick on the table and then glances up at the other three women. The room falls silent. At least Alo's death, at least Alo's death frightened them, Rena adds, shrugging her shoulders. Stay away from the kings, Portia up. Stay away from the kings, Portia huffs, pointing at the Adara. I've killed too many people in the past, and one of the last members of my heritage will not die because of your power trip. Tori rises from her tree stump and places one hand on Portia's shoulder. We mustn't make a rash decision again, Tori states. She wanders around the table, rubbing her chin deep in thought. On another note, On another note, did the Edom girls see the glowing spiders last Elm Day? I find it odd since only Tori trails off, interrupted by Vena. Let's not discuss the yearning Yuka. We have more important matters. If no one joins the party tomorrow, we will die, Vena says. Send Leonard to Methusela, Adara mumbles, poking at the spider with a stick. No, Leonard is not a suitable candidate, Portia retorts, shaking her head. Methuselah commanded that the offering must be someone who owns a treehouse. Venom replies, standing up from her tree stump. Tell them if no one wants to be a party member, then we'll tie them to machinal trees. Make them swallow the machinal fruit. Boils and blisters will pop up on their nose tonsils. Adara laughs, throwing her head back. This has this has gotten out of hand, Tori whispers, shaking her head. Places, placing her hand on her eyes, she rubs them until Portia's raspy voice resonates throughout the room. We aren't sending any children or babies to the machinal prison or Methuselah's grove. Do not consider children or babies. They are harmless, Portia asserts. She focuses her eyes on Vena, glowering at her. Vena stands, bes- Vena stands behind Adara's seat at a wall, completely lost in a trance. Her eyes glaze over Adara until Adara snaps her fingers in front of her face. Climb back down the tree now! Climb back down the tree now! Adara shouts, attempting to gain Vena's attention. Vena taps the Vena taps the violet spider perched on her head. The spider scrambles away from her ear and positions its abdomen near her blunt bum. The end. I apologize. I lost my train of thought. As I told you, I am concerned about a possible uproar when we announce the perquisites of joining the Praten, Vena states. Vena turns away from the table. She paces to Adara's baobab tree and then down vertically to Portia's baobab tree. Immortality should be enough, but you never know with the common folk. Our people tend to value simple ideas like exhibiting moral character and cinnamon bread. She scoffs. Our lessons are working, Adara states, nodding her head. What are you planning to do? Release a vile spider in the arbitrary? Call on Prometheus to terrorize the town? Portia questions Vena. No, Prometheus is only for dire situations, and luckily we have never gotten to that point with our people. We may nev- we may need to threaten them if no one decides to participate. Tori sighs, clapping down on her tree stump. She covers her hands over her face. Vanna raises an eyebrow at Tori's gloomy demeanor. What is it, Tori? Vanna asks her. I often question my decision to pursue immortality with you, Tori says, staring at her fingers on the table. Follow me to Lenore. Visualize all four of us ruling over a town forever. Gwenna mocks Story in a sing-song voice. Gwenna, stomp, Gwenna stops taunting her and walks back to Adara's tree stump. Shall we release the violet spider into the arbitrary if no one decides to offer a loved one? She questions Adara with a grin. Your method of murdering might work best this time. King or not, Gwenna continues. I'll speak, Tori replies softly. Tori Toriuchi? What would the quietest member say to them? Adara teases. What they need to hear. The town needs to hear the request from me, Tori replies. Kinda like a soft and sweet blow? Adara questions, tilting her fluffy orange hair with a chuckle. I like it, she snorts. Trust me, someone will join after my speech tomorrow, Tori asserts. Ven appears at Tori, looking her up and down. Tori gulps, blinking her eyes quickly at Vanna. We need a backup plan, she states, glancing at Adara. We will utilize the spi- we will utilize the violet spiders if needed after Tori's speech. Vena states. You said you didn't want an uproar, Dory says, tapping her hand on the table. I changed my mind, Vena mumbles. Retiring to my baobab chamber. Retiring to my baobab chamber. Portia sighs, shaking her head and walking to her room. I'll be ready to release the spiders at your signal. Adara whispers to Vena and to the side. Vena smiles at Adara as she enters her baobab chamber. Of course you will, Vena snickers. Chapter 6 Analay Edon, a yearning yucca. I wake up to a soft sniffling noise. Bright spills my face. I blink several times as I stroke Bryce's fine red hair. He lays his head on my legs and crosses his black paws. Sitting up in my little bed in the attic, I look through my window. Fluffy fog engulfs Prometheus' statue, and I only see his arms and his proud chin pointing to the sky. Someone will join the battle today. I wrap my hands around my shoulders and squeeze my muscles to shake off the sensation of anxiety. I release my hands and look into Bryce's sweet eyes. You have nothing to worry about, I whisper to myself, patting Bryce's fur and touching his nose. He buries his head under my blanket. Goosebumps rise on my skin when I think about Aloe in the promenade and Ulysses' circle. His disfigured face haunts my mind. I can't imagine how Daniel and Cheyenne are feeling. Wash up before we leave, bro. Wash up before we leave for the arbitrary. My heart leaps out of my chest. I glance down at my mother, standing on my ladder. How long was she standing there? I quickly glance down at Brights under my blanket. I snuck him, I snuck him inside of the treehouse last night after the funeral. I needed to cuddle with him. She climbs down the ladder without a word, so I don't think she saw him. Greens moves around downstairs to greet her. I throw my blanket over my head. I need this day to be over. Bright sprouts on top of my hands. I laugh while he continues to jump and play fight with me. His soft paws hop on my neck, tickling me. I lift my head from my blanket and hold him close. I guess I should get ready to go to the arbitrary. Ar- After climbing down the ladder, I look around the common area, and the treehouse is spotless. I motion to Brights to stay in the attic for a moment. My mother is a kind of a tidy person, but today every piece of furniture gleams. No crumbs lay around on our sunken purplish gray lounge, and when you have a blind dog as a pet, there will always be pieces of food or tatered bark scattered around. I walk into the kitchen and grab the measuring tape from the cupboard to check my measurements for the day. Oh, you don't need to check your size, my mother says, entering the kitchen. As usual, her hair is pinned up in a bun, and a violet flower is positioned on the side of her head. Her long black dress fits loosely on her frail body. I look down at the measuring tape, confused, but I don't object. I despise measuring tape myself every day, and I want to toss the stupid contraption into Lake Atlantis. I place the measuring tape back into the cupboard and go to the common area close and go back to the common area closet to put on my shirts, boots, and white top. I step into the washing room to change my clothing. Our clean stainless steel tub reflects my puzzled expression. My gray eyes are wide, full of uncertainty. Freckles nearly cover every space of skin on my face. I guess my father had freckles. My mother's face is flawless. Securing a yellow leaf to my shirt, I pull my hair back into a ponytail with a stretchy twig band. I'm heading to the arbitrary with the kings. See you there, I yell, grabbing my bag. She is in her room with the door closed. Perfect. I whistle for Bites to come down the ladder and run out of the treehouse before my mother responds. Brights follow me. Brights follows me. I wish I could bring Brights with me to the arbitrary. I need his warmth and his unconditional support. But pets aren't allowed in the arbitrary. You need to stay in your foxhole, I say, dropping him in front of his den. He whimpers at me and then scratches the outside of his home before crawling in. I know I'll be back soon. I know I'll be back soon. And we'll play around like Atlantis. As I head towards the King's Tree Mansion, I spot Malachi fishing on the lake alone. His woolly black hair spills out of the sides of his hat. When Shalene braids his hair, the ends touch the bottom of his neck. I walk to his deck to avoid disturbing him or the fish. He still hasn't noticed me yet. I pull out my drawing pad and pencils to draw him. I use my olive green pencil to sketch the shape of his pants. His green leaf practically shines on his white t-shirt. Then he yanks back his fishing pole and reels in his line. Malachi's eyebrows in with a perplexed expression as he stares at the fish. Shielding my eyes from the sun with my hand, I stand up to see what he caught. From my angle, the long, snake-like fish looks like it's made of mud. What is that? What is that? I yell at him from the deck. He turns around to face me with a frown. I'm not sure what it is, he replies, examining the fish. Sharp, jagged teeth, Sharp, jagged teeth jut out of his mouth. I've never seen a fish as monstrous. The kings join me on the deck. Did you catch a janga? Did you catch a janga blob? Bazenya asks Malachi. He pulls his boat up to the deck. He pulls, he, pull, he pulls his boat up to the deck. In the cre- in the creation of the Norse story, janga blobs are fish that Pega devours for meals. Maybe, Malachi says as he drags the fish out of the boat and drops it on the deck. Brezenia walks up to the creature and peers at it. Oren walks behind Brezenia and places his hands on her shoulders. Then he moves closer to the fish. Kicking at the fish's head, the fish lunges back at Oren, snapping at him. He jumps and almost falls. He looks like he is still alive, Oren says, peering over the fish. Brezenia moves away from the fish and makes sure the fish doesn't bite the bottom of her emerald dress. A clamorous sound of the bells inside of the arbitrary interrupts our conversation. The ringing noise floods through the tree houses and soars above the mountains surrounding us. I gaze at the promenades and the arbitrary. The cobblestones look slippery as the people of the north enter the promenade. They trudge through the area at a much slower pace than usual. Their figures disappear behind the fog as they step onto the cobblestones. Even Leonard and the creatives head towards the arbitrary, and usually they are late. Sport and Star are twins and walk together to the arbitrary. Pastel is their older sister. Sport and Star support their parents by performing in the promenade. Without saying a word, the King family and I walk to the arbitrary. I drag my feet a pace or two behind everyone else. The sound of my feet dragging on the cobblestones catches Malachi's attention, and he slows down for me. The only other sound I hear is Pastel and Oren kissing. As we walk, he wraps one arm around my waist. A calm, peaceful feeling moves through me, and I feel like I have nothing to worry about, even though we were all fearful and worried the day and night before. Sitting in the arbitrary is a long, sweltering experience due to the battle's lessons, and I must prepare for it mentally. Horsemen fill the arena and watch for any disobedience from the creatives. Wait. The sinister, the sinister horsemen wrap around the arbitrary as tight as barbed clings onto it to it. Where's your mother? Malachi questions, holding the door open for me to enter the arbitrary. She might already be inside, I replied. The balconies are already full of people and horsemen. Typically the siblings will go to the back of the arbitrary, but today they must sit with the adults. The pews are positioned on top of a slight incline, and if someone sits closer to the stage, it is harder to see the problem. The creatives usually stand at the front of the stage at called the pitch pit. They loathe the lessons from the prattle more than anyone else does. Lessons restrict their creative freedom is what they tell everyone. If someone wants to if someone wants to snack on cherry blossom leaves or almond butter bark, the creatives always hoard a stash of it at the front. But I won't eat it in but I won't eat it in here. Some people stand up on occasion to stretch their legs through during their break. We are lucky and find a pew near the pitch pit. I sit in between Malachi and Dr. Eugene. As I glance up at the sky, the swollen gray clouds look like they may burst with rain. I wish I had one of your elephant ear. I wish I had one of your elephant ear plants to cover us if there is a storm. I whisper in Malachi's ear. An elephant ear plant is a giant leaf used for protection from the rain or anything falling from the sky. I turn around and search for my mother. She is chatting with Clara and the Linden family in the balcony. The entire arena is silent as steps out of the baobab lair and onto the stage. Her heels click on the wooden floor as she lights each candelabra. Adara carries a glass bowl with one large violet spider inside. Tori enters the stage and then sits on her purple throne. Adara sets the glass bowl on a table and walks over to her pipe organ to play our opening song. She begins to play Ode to Lenore, and the haunting music of her ancient organ resounds in the arena. Her hand, her head and body sway to the rhythm as she bangs on the keys. Portia enters the front of the stage with another glass bowl, but it is full of smaller violet spiders. She places the bowl next to the colossal violet spider. She stops in front of the stage and rests her right elbow on top of her hand. Her left hand and right elbow make an L shape when connected. Please stand with me to sing Ode to Lenore, Portia states, still holding her gesture. Everyone rises and copies Portia by placing their left arm in front of them with their right elbow resting on top. Portia leads the song and Adara continues to play the organ. Oh, Lenore, oh, how we adore you. With black mountains high and various trees below, Prometheus stands tall, covered in the mist, and glorious fish from Lake Atlantis. Oh, how we adore you. Oh, how adore you. Oh, Lenore, how we adore you. We shall stay and obey. When we finish the song, Portia waves her fingers on her right hand. We copy her by wiggling our fingers on our right hand. Portia nods at us and we sit down in our pews. My lesson will be short today, but I hope impactful. Her voice is thick and sweet like maple tree syrup. When Portia starts the lesson, he is my cue to daydream. I think the lesson is about a peacock and an eagle. I don't know honestly. I completely ignored the entire lesson until Portia signals to everyone that she is finished. The moral of the story is you must sacrifice something great to build and obtain something even greater, she says. I sigh and glance at Dr. Eugene. He stares intently at Portia with his hand on his chin. He rubs his eye and looks at me, and Malachi then scoots back into our pew to straighten his posture. My head pounds from thinking too hard. I'm hoping the battle forces us to fight a horseman or eat a half of a machinal fruit. I think that would be good enough to join the battle. Relax, Malachi says after noticing my lack of response. His hand reaches out to rub my back, but I stop him. Don't tell me to relax, I whisper back to him, pressing one finger to my mouth. We shouldn't be talking right now anyway. His eyes stare at me in disbelief, and he sits forward. I hate when Manachi and I disagree. Portia walks to the back of the stage to sit on her throne. Silence soaks up the arena until Tori's tiny feet tap on the stage. Tori's almost never Tori almost never Tori almost never gives up speeches, and even now everyone in the crowd is holding their breath in shock. Her long silky hair shines as she stands in front of us. Her oval-shaped eyes peer into the crowd as her hands shake inside of her robe. Her violet spanner is on the side of her head, and its legs brush up against the edges of her ears. She finally opens her mouth to speak. As you all know, we, the Prattle, are seeking a member to join our exclusive group, Tori says. Her firm but tranquil voice soothes the anxiety and tension growing in my body. Every day we spend immense time crafting the right lessons to teach you. We must ensure Lenore works together as one. There is a long pause, and Tori stares at her feet and then back at us again. Immortality is a tremendous burden to bear. An audible creaking noise emits from the thrones, and I look up. And Ben is moving around in her seat with a strained face. She appears uncomfortable as her eyes start from Tori to the crowd. I focus my eyes back. I focus my eyes back on Tori. Tori glances back at Venna. But the rewards are incredible. You will be you will be assigned your own holiday, obtain a unique bower tree, and rule over the people of Lenore. You must reside in Lenore, but this gift has exceeded our greatest expectations, and it will most definitely exceed yours. There are few whistles from the crowd. Tori's smile widens. How many of you would like immortality, wealth, and power? She questions us. Several people raise their hands. I turn around and the Linden and Duncan families' hands are raised. No one in the Maloney family raises their hand except Logan. He waves his arms in the air as a joke. His red, his red leaf on his white shirt swishes back and forth, but Dylan and Connor grab his arms and pin them down. Tori is still smiling. Quite a few of you. This is grand. Tori stops again and stares at her thin hands. Why is she posing so much? Why is she so posing? Rena clears her throat for Tori to continue. Tori looks up at Tori looks up at us again and rubs her soft hands together. Quite a few of you, she stays again, but this time she is frowning and her voice trembles. I glance at Dr. Eugene. He fidgets in the pew with a clenched jaw. What are the requirements to the what are the what are the requirements to become a part of the fratern? She poses again. It feels like moments go by. It feels like moments go by as Tori's hands shake in front of her robe. This is a great question. You must say the name of a family member or loved one you would like to be offered to Methusela's grove, and then drop an evergreen coin into Prometheus' statue. It is that simple. The arena erupts with low murmurs and whispers. Tori holds up one hand to quiet everyone. Only those who abide in tree houses are allowed to participate. Each of the household will go out to the promenade one at a time to say a name and drop in a coin. If a person says a name after dropping a coin, then an then an image of that family's totem will appear in the water fountain. Prometheus, if more than one head of the household says a name into the water fountain, Prometheus will decide who will enter Methusela's grove. Dr. Eugene told me the truth. My head spins and my breathing becomes burdensome. Malachi grabs my hand, and Dr. Eugene looks around the arena to see if anyone who owns a treehouse is rushing to go out to the promenade. I look around the room as well, and Ellie Linden rises out and Ellie Linden rises out of his pew. As Ellie stands, no one says a word. The dark clouds rumble and cold water drop. The dark clouds rumble and cold water droplets splash onto my hair and shoulders. Prometheus must be crying. I brace them. I brace the townsends when it rains. Do tell who or what is Methusela's grove? Ellie asks, slipping his hands into the pockets of his pants. One of his hands rests on his cane with an owl's head. He directs the question at Tori. Clara's eyes grow large. I bet she knows Ellie might send her to Methusela's grove. I guess he wants I guess he wants to get her back for sneaking around with Grant Duncan. Glenn grabs her mother's emerald cloak and bundles it around her mother to calm her down. My mother stares ahead, emotionless, on the other side of Clara, as if she is in another land. Glenn peers up at her father with a scowl. Glenn peers up at her father with a scowl. Methuselah, from the creation of the Norse story, remember? That tree became immortal by eating violet spiders, she says, tugging on his coat. He shrugs his shoulders at Glenn. You read me the story before bedtime when I was little, Glenn huffs, rolling her eyes. It seems like everyone is focusing their attention on the Linton family. Ellie looks down at Glenn as if she is speaking strangely, and then looks at Tori. Venus stands from her throne. Tori's head is down, staring at the stage. Vena motions her Vena motions with her hand for Tori to exit the Vena motions with her hand for Tori to exit the stage or to sit down. Vena's light green eyes are watery but furious. She stamps up to the front of the stage to answer Ellie's question. I'm still in shock that Ellie stood up without asking for permission first. It makes me think about how ever since I stood up the other day, everyone in town has been standing up more often without permission. Glenn is correct. Medeiros is an ancient tree requesting an offering from the north. Once this happens, once this happens, the battle will secure another member, Venner asserts. I don't recall that part of the story, Eddie mumbles, glancing back to sit down in his pew. Clara, Clara, Clara releases a huge sigh when Ellie settles down beside her. Then Wanda Duncan rises from her pew. She raises her hand. Can you explain what exactly happens in the grove? Wanda questions. Her blonde, her blonde curls behind barely. Her blonde curls barely touch her necklace, which has a sheep on it. Sheep are their assigned totem. The docile animals run around near the back of their treehouse. Several golden locust trees surround their home. Good question, Ed replies with a nod to her. Wanda's husband, Wanda's husband, Grant, taps his knees nervously. Venner glares at us, fully stunned, and then glances back at Adara on her throne. Adara steps forward and addresses the crowd. From, well, basically, you die. Unless Methuselah is bored and would rather watch you suffer a bit, Adara states. She mumbles the sentence so quickly. I hear the word suffer. What did you just say? What did you just say? One of the Duncan yells. I couldn't hear you, one of the creatives screams. Speak up, please. Someone shouts in the balcony. Adara's face is as red as a burning bush. Her, her stumpy fingers ball up as she glares at everyone. I said they die, Adara shouts. She almost falls off she almost falls off stage as she thrusts her small body towards the crowd. Vanna pulls her back and is visibly agitated. She rolls her eyes at Adara and signals for Adara to go back to her throne. Chatter erupts from the arena. The creatives stamp their feet in the pitch pit. I knew it was too good to be true, Wanda Duncan shouts, sitting down on her pew. The creatives would like to offer a genial tribute to Methuselah. Leonard shouts from the front of the pit. Leonard turns around and winks at Dr. Eugene. Adara rushes to her throne and pulls out her horn. Her cheeks puff out like round mooseberry balls as she blows out her air. The arena is quiet again. Thank you, Adara, for the delicate description of Methuselah's growth. Venna says in a sarcastic tone as she smooths the wrinkles in her robe. In heavy rain falls on us, but none on the battle. A wooden roof on the stage protects them. The candelabra's flames die out due to the moisture of the storm. Leonard, we decline your request to offer a imaginary tree. Venna replies. The creatives and Leonard's The creatives and Leonard stomp their feet again in protest. As stated previously, each head of the house will exit the arbitrary separately to say a name and then throw a coin into Prometheus' statue. Venus says. Any further questions? She says crossly, her shoulders. Moments go by without a response. Now I will need the six head of the households to line up outside the arbitrary. If you do not if you do not at least participate, your whole household will be killed. Dr. Eugene King, Bonnie Maloney, Ellie Linden, Grant Duncan, Lydia Edo, and Cheyenne Solar, your man in front of Prometheus' statue will be alone when asserts. Dr. Eugene stands out of his pew. I don't think it is appropriate to allow Cheyenne to participate today, he exclaims. Vanna glowers at Dr. Eugene from the stage. I will decide what is I will decide what is inappropriate and what is appropriate, Vanna screams, challenging him. Adara rises out of her throne to help the horsemen usher the head of the households towards the entrance. My mother walks my mother walks to the other five people at the door. I hold my breath. It is possible she won't say my name when she throws it. It is possible she won't say my name when she throws her coin in, I whisper to myself, assuring my fate. We wait inside of the arbitrary. Malachi squeezes my leg, but all I can think about is how chilly the rain feels on my skin. The Motel Zealous Grove sound like a terrible place. In the creation of Lenore's story, Methuselah's crumbly black bark smells like rotten meat. Her serpent-like branches twist up to the sky, and violet spiders crawl in and out of her hollow daily. Ay, kanina na daily. Burying my face into Malachi's shoulder, I pray to Prometheus to spare me. Malachi holds me close as the rain pours on us. I look up. I look up. You may all exit the arbitrary to find out who will be offered to Methusela's grove, Venus's. Everyone stands and walks towards the exit. The unrelenting rain plummets onto the cobblestones, causing my head to drop. My body feels limp and flimsy. Malachi pulls his fleece sweater off and tries to cover my head with it. Here, hopefully this will help, he says as we walk towards Prometheus' statue. I've never seen his face so sudden. All six of the family members stand in a circle around the statue. The brother faces towards the front of Prometheus. I glance at my mother. Her black eyes are as cold as a dead fish. Dr. Eugene's eyes focus downwards towards the water fountain. He couldn't have possibly submitted one of his children's names, could he? Adara and Vena step forward, holding hands. At this time, we call on Prometheus to discover who is beneath us, who will journey to Methusela's grove, and die to keep Lenore and the battle immortal. Please show us the names. When Adara and Beve, when Adara and Vena finish the chant, droplets of the water in the fountain spin out of control, and the pool morphs into a deep purple. The town stares into the water, and then a small owl appears. Clara Linden, a loud booming voice announces. The statue shakes. I assume the voice is coming from Prometheus' wooden statue. My heart pounds out my heart pounds out of my chest. Prometheus is real. I look over at the Lindens and Clara moans. Then she slaps me in the face. How dare you, she screams, tears streaming down her face. Someone gasps, and I look back into the water. An image of a sheep gallops around it. An image of a sheep gallops around in it. Wanda Duncan, Prometheus' statue, proclaims. My jaw drops open in disbelief. Dr. Eugene shakes his head. I'm sure he wishes no one said the name after throwing a coin into the fountain. Everyone is silent as we stand around the statue. I close my eyes and take Prometheus. My mother didn't call my name. Malachi squeezes my hand. I release a sigh. My heart plummets. An image of a fox runs around in the water fountain. Annalie Adam, Prometheus' voice booms. His statue rattles. As Prometheus' voice echoes through the promenade, I place my hand on my heart in astonishment. Pain soars through my heart as I struggle to breathe, and I barely hear Malachi calling my name. Dr. Eugene leaps up and points his index finger at my mother. Stop! He shouts. He turns his back on my mother and faces the brother. Portia, don't allow this to happen, he commands. Portia hides her face behind Tori and Venna, but then finally steps forward. It is too late. Prometheus will choose a name from those selected to go to the Motizela's grove. Portia's hand trembles as she reaches out to grab Tori's hand. They both step up to tho- they both step up to the statue and bow their heads to chant. Which family will be lifted up and delivered into the grove? Which person's soul will which person's soul will Methuselah take hold? To build Lenore and maintain our town? Which person's life will be taken down? Show us the name. I hold my breath during their chant. It's scarier than Venus and Adaras. My knees buckle as we wait for Prometheus to say a name. Warren and Dr. Eugene hold my body up because I cannot stand on my own. My eyes glance back at my mother, and she is staring into the water fountain. A black hole builds inside of my chest. Everything is crashing around me. Tears swell up in my eyes as I squint at a vivid image of a fox appearing in the water. Annalie Adam, Prometheus' statue announces. Vena walks up to the statue. It feels surreal, as if it is not happening. Horsemen, take Annalay to the marginal prison. Vena says. She pivots to face my mother. Congratulations, Lydia! You are now a part of the plot. Please join us as we walk to the arbitrary. It must be a dream, a nightmare. I keep telling myself, wake up, Annalay, wake up, wake up. Your mother wouldn't leave you up to join the battle. Wake up, silly girl. I must be dreaming. I'm numb and still in awe, whispering to myself. As I pinch myself, the kings stand close to me to block the horsemen from coming. The horsemen push through the kings. My body is stiff from the rain, my head feels cloudy, people shout around me. A blurry vision of my mother's cold eyes staring into mine burns into my mind. Grimy hands dripping with soot grab my arms and legs. The horsemen carry me. The horsemen carry me through the promenade and in the direction of the machinal prison. Okay, that those are chapter 4, 5, and 6 of Violet Spiders of Methusela's Grove.